There. And to talk more about this, we're joined by Charles Vick, a space expert from the website globalsecurity.org, live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Vick. With so many objects in space, how likely was this collision, and how likely is it to happen again?
Well, it certainly is likely to happen again, and we certainly under-anticipated the potentiality of this, but we really should not have done so. I guess it brings up the larger question of why don't we have an international standard for older defunct spacecraft that had come to the end of their lifetime, whether we need an international standard that all spacecraft must have a deorbit capability at the end of the lifespan of the spacecraft in order to prevent this kind of thing and actually control space debris, considerably reducing it.
Well, you've brought me to my next question. You talk about an international standard. If there is so much debris up there, isn't there some way of cleaning it up?
Well, there's no real practical way of cleaning it up except that to look at these individual spacecraft and where they are in their various constellations and possibly develop a cosmic booksker, in other words, a cosmonaut or cosmic tug as such to actually go out there, such as taking like a Breeze M stage and putting manipulating arms and rendezvous equipment from the Progress spacecraft so that they could go out and pick up these dead spacecraft and do deorbit burns for them and, you know, do it for more than one spacecraft in each mission when they do that as a kind of commercial operation that potentially could be done on a practical level provided funds are available and it's made worthwhile, while at the same time imposing an international standard that all spacecraft need a deorbit capability that is absolutely certain to be operable at the end of the life of the spacecraft. We can't take care of what's already been put up there both during the Cold War and up to now, but we need to be much more conscious of it than we have been up to now. It has certainly been brought to that level of consciousness and seriousness, and certainly represents something that needs to be very much addressed by our multiple nations.
So there is a way of cleaning up the debris. It just means a will and funds, you're saying. Now, if either of these satellites had been more important, what kind of effects could it have had, do you think?
Well, you know, if we had known that the older satellite was no longer functional and we knew where it was, we only have radar to track it. We don't have an active spacecraft versus an active spacecraft. You have a dead spacecraft versus an active spacecraft. You possibly could have had onboard maneuvering capability to avoid this collision, though I am not certain that that is built into commercial spacecraft even today when it should be a standard availability within a reasonable reference frame of design standard requirements. We, you know, are not limited to launch vehicle capability as we were early on in the space age. We have options with larger payload capacity that would allow us to build this kind of packaging into a vehicle. So, you know, it's just, it leaves us a real problem that is not going to be easy to address. There is some debris that we will never be able to get rid of. It will just have to decay in due course.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Charles Vick, thank you for joining us.